Hello, esteemed gentlemen. A man who doesn't need the world terrifies the world. Most people are scared of monsters, but modern women? They fear something far more dangerous. A man they can't control, can't predict, and can't emotionally disarm. Let me hit you with a truth bomb. According to recent behavioral studies, over 70% of modern dating app users say they find emotionally unavailable men the most frustrating. But what they call unavailable, that's just a Sigma male, unbothered, unreadable, and completely uninterested in playing her emotional games. He's not rude, he's not bitter. He's just done pretending that validation is currency. He doesn't chase, he doesn't flex, and he definitely isn't sitting there heart-reacting to every selfie like a desperate Labrador in heat. This man, the Sigma, doesn't just reject the system. He makes the system question its own existence. So why do modern women hate him? Because he exposes every game, kills every fantasy, and walks away before she even knows what just happened. And that's what we're about to break down. 20 brutally honest, painfully accurate reasons why Sigma males make 97% of women furious, fascinated, and afraid. Let's get into it. But be warned, if you're expecting clichés, go watch a Disney movie, because this is the uncensored truth. Number 1. They don't respond to threats of withdrawal or rejection. When most women argue or pull away, there's an unspoken expectation that the man will react. Panic, chase, apologize, or at least flinch. It's not always malicious. It's just part of how emotional influence plays out in modern relationships. A subtle threat of leaving, a sudden cold shoulder, or a dramatic "I just need space" usually sparks some level of emotional reaction in men. For many women, that reaction proves they still have power. It's validation, control, and reassurance all in one. But Sigma males don't respond the way others do, and that messes with the entire game. When a woman tries to punish a Sigma male with withdrawal, silence, or ultimatums, she usually gets something back she never expected: complete indifference. Not fake, passive-aggressive silence. Actual full-blown peace. He doesn't argue. He doesn't chase. He doesn't double-text or spiral into self-doubt. He simply lets her go. And not as some fake test. He genuinely sees her exit as her choice, not a challenge. This level of emotional self-control doesn't come from arrogance or ego. It comes from something women rarely see in men anymore: a total comfort with being alone. The Sigma doesn't fear being left because he's already built his life on solitude. It's his default, not his punishment. Most women, even the strong ones, aren't used to that. They're used to being the storm, not realizing they've finally met the calm that doesn't move. This doesn't mean Sigma males are heartless or unfeeling. On the contrary, they feel deeply. They just don't perform it for attention. When a woman tries to use rejection as a weapon, the Sigma's refusal to engage leaves her standing there with a loaded gun pointed at a man who's already walked off the battlefield. And that's where the resentment is born. It's not just that he didn't react. It's that he didn't need her reaction to feel okay. That kind of self-contained confidence is magnetic, but also maddening to someone used to being the emotional puppet master. And deep down, she knows, the moment she lost control over him was the moment she realized she never had it. Number 2, they're unbribable with sex, compliments, or praise. Most modern women are used to men being predictable when it comes to sex, praise, or attention. Show a little skin, throw a few compliments, act impressed, and like clockwork, most guys melt. They become easier to manage, more eager to please, more willing to tolerate behavior they normally wouldn't. It's not manipulation in the obvious sense. It's just learned power dynamics. For a lot of women, their beauty, charm, and validation are currencies they've used their entire lives to gain control, avoid accountability, or skip emotional labor. But Sigma males don't buy it. You can't dangle sex in front of a Sigma and expect him to chase. He doesn't see it as a reward. He doesn't see you as the prize. He sees through the performance, and more importantly, he doesn't need it. That alone destroys the foundation many women are used to standing on. Compliments? He doesn't need your approval. He doesn't get high off being told he's amazing or hot or different from other guys. It sounds nice, but he's not moved by it, because he knows most praise comes with an agenda. He hears what's not being said. He knows when admiration is just a setup for influence. Fake admiration doesn't work either. The whole "I've never met a guy like you" line falls flat, because he already knows you have. You just want him to believe he's special enough to drop his guard, to start giving more. But Sigma males don't run on external validation. They run on purpose, depth, solitude, power, the kind that isn't flashy but internal. This doesn't mean he's cold or disconnected. It means he has emotional discipline most men lack. And for women who've always used their femininity as leverage, sex appeal, attention, approval, this is offensive. It feels like rejection, not of the act, but of their value. And that stings. Because if a man isn't motivated by sex, praise, or validation, he's almost impossible to control. To most women, that's not mysterious. That's dangerous. Number 3. They kill the rescue me fantasy. The modern woman, no matter how independent she claims to be, often still carries a deeply rooted fantasy, the rescue me dream. It's not always obvious or dramatic. It doesn't always look like a princess begging for a knight. Sometimes it's hidden under strong-willed independence. But it's there. The silent hope that a man will come along, see her pain without her asking, fix the emotional mess without judgment, and somehow make her feel whole again without making her feel weak. But Sigma males don't play that role. They don't swoop in with capes, promises, or emotional band-aids. They watch, they listen, but they do not fix. Not because they don't care, but because they know the cost of becoming someone's emotional crutch. They understand that rescuing a woman doesn't empower her. It makes her dependent. And Sigmas, they don't do emotional babysitting disguised as romance. To the average woman, this feels confusing, even offensive. He's not rushing to comfort her. He's not trying to solve her problems. He's not validating every tear or soothing every wound. And that absence of emotional hand-holding, it gets labeled as cold, distant, even selfish. But what it really is respect. He's giving her the space to face her own chaos without stepping in to save her from herself. Women often say they want strength in a man. But when that strength doesn't show up as protection or rescue, they misinterpret it. Sigma strength isn't about throwing punches or making grand gestures. It's about restraint. It's about choosing not to interfere with someone else's path, even when you could. That kind of power is rare, and it unsettles women who are used to men equating love with rescue missions. And let's be brutally honest, many women aren't looking for a partner. They're looking for a therapist, a wallet, a protector, and a mind reader, all wrapped into one romantic figure. The Sigma offers none of that. He offers presence without possession, interest without obligation, and care without codependency. To a woman who still clings to the save me fantasy, the Sigma doesn't feel like a hero. He feels like a mirror, and that's the last thing she was hoping for. Number 4. They don't build their identity around women. Most men, whether they admit it or not, shape a large part of their identity around women. From how they dress to how they talk to what they chase in life, it's often designed to impress or attract the opposite sex. It's not always desperate, sometimes it's subtle, but the underlying motivation is the same. If I'm good enough, I'll be chosen. This is especially true for betas and simps, who orbit women like satellites, hoping proximity will earn them validation. Sigma males are the opposite. They don't orbit, they don't chase, and they definitely don't tie their worth to a woman's interest, approval, or affection. They live in their own mental universe, and if a woman enters it, it's because she aligns with his purpose, not because he needs her to complete some image of himself. That kind of internal self-definition is powerful and deeply threatening to women used to being the centerpiece of a man's life. When a woman meets a man who doesn't center her, who isn't trying to impress, who doesn't jump through hoops, who isn't emotionally dependent on her response, it throws her off. Not because he's rude, but because he's complete. She can't mold him, redirect him, or emotionally train him like she can with most men who crave her attention. Sigma males are not anti-women. They don't hate them, they don't avoid them, but they don't need them either. That's the key difference. They respect women, but they're not willing to abandon themselves for a chance to be chosen. They don't perform, they don't chase approval, they don't sit there wondering, what does she think of me? They're too busy thinking about life, legacy, and their own direction. To a woman who's been the gravitational pull in every relationship she's had, the Sigma male is disorienting. He doesn't revolve around her, and she can't pull him into orbit. And that's not just frustrating, it's ego-shattering, because when a man builds his life with or without you, it forces you to face the question most don't want to ask: am I here because he needs me, or because he chose me without needing to? Most women aren't ready for the answer. Number 5. They break the algorithm of predictable male behavior. Modern women have developed an almost sixth sense for reading men. It's not always conscious, but it's incredibly sharp. Within minutes, sometimes seconds, they'll size a man up and categorize him. The nice guy, who'll stick around no matter how badly he's treated. The alpha jerk who'll chase her until she's bored. The simp who'll say yes to anything. Or the high-value poser who read too many self-help books and thinks confidence means talking louder. It's all part of the dating algorithm. And most guys are running on outdated, glitchy code that's easy to crack. Then a Sigma male shows up, and suddenly none of the usual tactics work. He doesn't respond predictably to attention, rejection, praise, or tests. He might be charming, but he doesn't flirt. He might be silent, but it's not insecurity. It's observation. He can seem detached, but it's not because he doesn't care. It's because he's not performing for anyone's approval. There's no emotional script to follow, no pattern to anticipate. And for a woman who thrives on reading behavior and controlling outcomes, that's not just confusing, it's unnerving. Sigmas break the algorithm because they're not motivated by the usual things. They're not acting from a place of insecurity or desperation. They're not trying to prove anything. They don't chase to win approval or withdraw to play games. Their moves aren't based on what she thinks, they're based on what he values. That level of autonomy makes him unreadable. And in a world where power often comes from emotional predictability, being unreadable is a threat. This unpredictability creates a psychological tension women aren't used to. She can't manipulate it, she can't control it, she can't even fully understand it. And that uncertainty breeds obsession for some and rage for others. Because if she can't figure out what box to put him in, she can't figure out how to handle him. And when she can't handle him, she loses the one thing she was counting on: control. Most men follow a pattern. Sigma males break it. And when you can't predict a man, you can't play him. For modern women used to running the script, that's a problem they can't solve. Number 6. They can't be emotionally manipulated through guilt or drama. In today's dating landscape, emotional manipulation isn't rare. It's strategy. And many modern women have mastered it, often without even realizing it. It's not always loud or toxic. Sometimes it's subtle. A sigh that says, "You let me down." A silent treatment that punishes. Or a teary-eyed guilt trip wrapped in, "I just thought you'd care more." These tactics work on most men, not because they're weak, but because they're wired to protect, to please, to fix. And when a woman signals that she's hurt or upset, most guys drop everything just to regain her approval. But Sigma males don't move like that. When faced with guilt, they don't rush to defend themselves or apologize for something they didn't do. They don't panic when someone withdraws emotionally or acts cold to provoke a response. They don't get tangled in drama because they see it for what it is, a power move. And they're immune to it, not because they don't feel, but because they've trained themselves to respond instead of react. This immunity is what makes them so unsettling to certain women. Emotional manipulation only works when the target needs something from you: validation, peace, approval, affection. But Sigma males don't build their sense of worth on external emotions, so when someone tries to use guilt to control them, they don't bend, they observe. And when someone brings drama into their world, they don't fight or argue, they walk away. That kind of calm is infuriating to anyone trying to control the emotional temperature of a relationship. It's not that Sigma males are insensitive, they're just not programmable. They've done the internal work to know which emotions are real and which are being used as weapons. And because they won't play along, women who rely on manipulation find themselves powerless for the first time. And they hate it. They can cry, sulk, go quiet, or explode. The Sigma won't be moved unless the emotion is authentic. Anything that smells like a performance gets ignored. And to someone used to pulling emotional strings, that's not indifference, it's a direct threat to their playbook. Number 7. They see behind the mask of empowered but emotionally unstable women. A lot of modern women wear confidence like armor. They talk bold, walk proud, throw around words like independent, strong, and unapologetic. And to most men, it's convincing. They fall for the performance, thinking she's powerful, put together, emotionally solid. But Sigma males don't take surface-level behavior at face value. They see the cracks behind the mask. They hear what's not being said. And that kind of perception doesn't flatter. It unmasks. A woman can be loud, dominant, outspoken, and still emotionally unstable underneath. She might post self-love quotes, preach about boundaries, and talk about her high standards while being chronically anxious, validation-hungry, and emotionally erratic behind closed doors. Most guys won't catch it until it's too late. Sigmas, they pick it up within minutes. They're not swayed by trendy buzzwords or curated confidence. They're paying attention to the inconsistencies, the nervous energy hiding under the sass, the bitterness behind the "I don't need anyone," the broken self-worth buried beneath the endless talk of empowerment. And when a Sigma sees it, he doesn't call it out to shame her. He simply doesn't invest. He distances himself, because he's not here to play therapist to someone masking chaos with fake strength. To a woman who's used to being praised for her persona, this level of emotional X-ray vision feels invasive. Worse, it feels judgmental, because she knows deep down she's not as strong as she claims. She knows the boss babe energy is sometimes just armor for unhealed wounds and shaky self-esteem. So when a Sigma sees through it and doesn't worship her like everyone else, she feels exposed, and that exposure breeds resentment. The truth is, most people, not just women, hate being truly seen when they're still trying to fake their strength. The Sigma doesn't fall for the branding. He waits for the reality. And if it doesn't match, he moves on, not with anger but clarity. He's not judging. He's just not pretending. And in a world obsessed with image, that's the most threatening kind of honesty there is. Number 8. They don't give women the psychological mirror they crave. Most women, whether they admit it or not, use men as mirrors, emotional reflection tools that confirm what they want to believe about themselves. You're beautiful. You're right. You're strong. You're not like the others. These aren't just compliments. They're psychological fuel. When a woman is unsure, insecure, or even just seeking reassurance, she often turns to a man to reflect back the image she needs to see. And most men oblige. Not because they're fake, but because they think that's part of loving or attracting a woman, giving her the emotional mirror she craves. But Sigma males don't offer that mirror. They don't play that role. They don't dish out praise just to avoid conflict. They don't throw compliments like life rafts to keep a woman emotionally afloat. And they're not interested in building someone's self-esteem for them. If a woman asks for his opinion and he sees confusion, chaos, or contradiction, he won't sugarcoat it. He might not say anything at all, not out of cruelty, but because he refuses to offer validation that hasn't been earned. This silence, it's devastating to women who rely on emotional feedback from men to feel centered. To a woman used to being constantly told she's enough, the Sigma's lack of reaction doesn't feel neutral. It feels like rejection. She's not used to a man who doesn't immediately feed her emotional needs. She's not used to silence when she expects reassurance. And she's definitely not used to a man who looks at her without flinching, without falling, and without flattering her just to stay close. To a Sigma, it's not about being cold. It's about not being manipulated into emotional servitude. He believes a person's self-worth should come from within, not from fishing for reactions. And he won't fake support just to keep the peace. That makes him dangerous to women who depend on constant validation to hold their identity together. To them, his silence isn't mystery. It's starvation. Because when a woman can't feed off a man's emotional reaction, she's forced to sit with her own reflection. And if she's not ready to face that, she'll hate the man who refused to lie to her. Number 9. They're too introspective. It forces women to face themselves. Sigma males aren't deep for show. They don't quote philosophers to sound smart or brood in the corner to seem mysterious. Their introspection is real, born from solitude, forged through discomfort, and sharpened by years of brutal self-honesty. They've dissected their traumas, examined their flaws, and learned how to sit in silence without needing a distraction. That kind of inner work isn't common in men, and it's rarely expected by women. Most modern women have been conditioned by a culture of constant stimulation. Dopamine from apps, attention from men, validation from likes, and comfort from short-term pleasures. It's a world built to avoid self-reflection, not embrace it. So when they come across a man who doesn't distract himself, but instead dives into himself, it's unnerving. Because that level of mental stillness creates a presence that exposes everything around it. When a Sigma speaks, it's not surface-level chatter. It's often raw, unfiltered, and deeply aware. He'll ask questions that aren't just flirty, they're existential. He'll call out contradictions without hesitation. He'll challenge emotional inconsistency, not with aggression but with precision. And most importantly, he'll notice what most people ignore, not just what you say, but why you're saying it. To a woman used to being praised, indulged, or entertained, this isn't sexy. It's confronting. Being around someone who's that self-aware naturally forces others to reflect too. But most women aren't ready for that. They're used to men who distract them, not reflect them. They want attention, not introspection. And the Sigma gives them none of the usual emotional noise to hide behind. His quiet presence becomes a mirror, one that shows who she really is, not who she performs to be. That kind of reflection, it's not always welcome, it's uncomfortable, it strips away the facade. And for women who've avoided self-examination their whole lives, the Sigma doesn't feel like a man. He feels like a threat to their illusion. He won't fix you. He won't flatter you. He'll just see you. And if you're not ready to face what he sees, you'll hate him for it. Number 10. They don't believe in compatibility, only alignment. Sigma males don't buy into the modern dating illusion of compatibility based on vibes, sparks, or surface-level chemistry. They've seen how easy it is to mistake emotional intensity for connection, and how often that ends in chaos. They know that just because two people can laugh together, hook up, or even finish each other's sentences, it doesn't mean they're actually aligned. And for a Sigma, if there's no alignment, shared values, direction, emotional maturity, then the connection is shallow no matter how exciting it feels in the moment. Most modern women are chasing feelings, the vibe, the energy, the high. They want a relationship to feel like a Netflix drama and a TikTok fairy tale at the same time. Unpredictable, fun, low effort, but still somehow deep. They want to see where it goes, keep it light, or just go with the flow, until things magically evolve into something meaningful. That kind of emotional chaos is normal to them, and they call it chemistry. But Sigma males don't care about vibes. They care about structure, not rigid control, but clarity. They want to know, do we share the same values? Are we headed in the same direction? Are you mentally disciplined or emotionally chaotic? Do you live with intention, or are you just reacting to life? These questions might sound heavy to the average person, but to a Sigma, they're minimum requirements. Without that alignment, he'll walk, no matter how hot, smart, or charming the woman is. This depth of thinking doesn't impress most women. It confuses them. It annoys them. It makes them feel judged. Because in their world, asking for clarity too early is seen as too serious, and calling out emotional immaturity is labeled controlling or arrogant. So when a Sigma doesn't want to waste time on a vibe, they accuse him of thinking he's better than everyone else. But the truth is, he just doesn't do emotional gambling. He's not interested in pretending a chaotic connection is something more than what it is. And for a woman used to relationships built on chemistry and games, a man who refuses to play looks like a snob. He's not arrogant. He's just intentional. And in a world addicted to feelings, intentionality feels like rejection. Number 11. They can't be possessed. And that drives women insane. Most women, whether consciously or not, are used to owning men emotionally. Not with chains or commands, but with influence. Seduction works on alphas. Make him feel desired and he'll orbit. Betas are easy. Give them hope, and they'll stay loyal no matter how badly they're treated. Nice guys? They can be friend-zoned, benched, emotionally strung along for years. These aren't relationships, they're emotional power plays, and many women have mastered the art of possession without ever saying the word. But Sigma males are a glitch in that matrix. They can't be kept. You can sleep with them, talk to them, even get close to them, but you'll never own them. Their time, energy, and emotions remain sovereign. They'll care, but not cling. They'll connect, but they won't depend. You won't get to control their schedule, their mind, or their mood. You won't be the center of their universe because they already have one, and it's built on solitude, purpose, and independence. That's maddening to a woman who's used to becoming a man's obsession. To someone who measures her power by how easily she can make a man change his plans, overthink her texts, or chase her approval, the Sigma's detachment isn't just confusing, it's infuriating because he feels deeply present, but he's never fully yours. He listens, but he doesn't submit. He engages, but never attaches. And you start to realize, this man lives by his own emotional code, and nothing you do rewrites it. To possess a man is to feel secure in your influence over him. But with a Sigma, that security never arrives. He can disappear without explanation, hold space without commitment, love you without needing you. And that ambiguity fries the emotional circuits of anyone used to predictable male behavior. He doesn't belong to anyone, not because he's afraid to commit, but because he chooses freedom over submission. And in a world where emotional possession is the ultimate currency, a man who can't be owned isn't mysterious. He's infuriating. Because deep down every woman knows the truth. You can't break what doesn't seek your approval, and you can't possess a man who's already whole. Number 12. They intimidate women who use hypergamy to climb. Hypergamy, the instinctive pull many women feel to date up, is wired deep. It's not evil, it's survival. Women historically sought men who could offer protection, status, and resources. Today, that instinct translates into chasing clout, lifestyle, and social capital. She might not say, "I want a man who makes me look better," but her behavior tells the truth. She wants someone whose presence makes her feel more important, more validated, more envied. That's why influencers, athletes, CEOs, or even fake entrepreneurs doing it for the gram attract attention. They bring visibility, not just value. They offer a step up. A man who can upgrade her wardrobe, her followers, her friend circle, and her illusion of importance. It's not love she's chasing, it's access. Now enter the Sigma male, the anti-ladder. He's not flashy. He doesn't care about being seen. He might have money, depth, status, even power, but he hides it behind restraint and minimalism. No flexing, no self-promotion, no performative lifestyle. He offers challenge, solitude, purpose, growth, not yachts and photo shoots. For a woman driven by hypergamy, this is useless. She can't leverage him to boost her image. He won't take her to networking parties. He won't post couple photos to announce his desirability. He doesn't give her a shortcut to anything. No higher-tier social circles, no fake luxury, no easy reputation boost. What he offers is something deeper, truth, clarity, and emotional evolution. But you can't show that off in a selfie. That's why women chasing lifestyle over substance don't just avoid Sigmas. They resent them, because his very existence exposes the emptiness of their hustle. He's proof that depth still exists, and that a woman chasing status alone isn't ready to receive it. The Sigma doesn't block her hypergamy. He makes it irrelevant. He won't be your social upgrade, your brand partner, or your fame ticket. He's not a ladder, he's a mirror. And if what you want is shine without soul, you won't just overlook him, you'll hate him for not needing to be seen. At the end of the day, the friction between Sigma males and modern women isn't just about personality clashes. It's a collision of two fundamentally different ways of being. Sigma males refuse to play by the emotional rules, social scripts, and validation games that most women expect and rely on. They bring a rare kind of authenticity and self-mastery that disrupts the comfortable illusions many cling to. This isn't arrogance or cruelty. It's raw, unapologetic truth. That truth unsettles, it challenges, it forces reflection where most want distraction. And because Sigma males stand outside the typical frameworks of possession, drama, and performative connection, they become impossible to tame, own, or decode. For women wired to seek status, control, or emotional feeding, this resistance is infuriating. It threatens their sense of power and identity. But here's the brutal honesty. If you can't handle a man who's unbribable, unpossessable, and unwilling to play your game, you're not ready for the kind of depth, freedom, and real connection Sigma males embody. Because these men don't exist to complete you or boost your image. They exist to challenge you, mirror you, and walk their own path with relentless independence. Liking them is easy. Understanding them, that's a different story. And hating them, that just means they're doing their job perfectly. If you found this eye-opening and want to dive deeper into the untold truths about Sigma males and modern dynamics, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like the video if it challenged what you thought you knew, comment your thoughts or questions below. I want to hear your take. And share this with anyone who needs a fresh, brutally honest perspective. Let's keep the conversation real and raw.